In the heart of West Africa, long before colonial borders and foreign names, lived a spiritual universe teeming with power. A universe where divinity had many faces, and each force of nature had a name, a story, a rhythm. These divine forces are known as the Orisha, sacred energies of the Yoruba tradition. But this story doesn't stay in Nigeria. It stretches across oceans, survives slavery, and rises anew in the Caribbean, in Brazil, in the Americas. Today we explore two Orisha who embody strength, transformation, and survival. Ogun and Oya, the language of the Orisha. To understand Ogun and Oya, we need to understand how the Yoruba saw the divine. The Orisha aren't just gods. They are realities, spiritual and physical, that shape human life. Some were once ancestors. Others were born of the cosmos. Some live in rivers, others in fire, metal, wind, or memory. The Orisha system is not mythology in the Western sense. It's a living cosmology, rooted in ritual, nature, and ancestry. Through the Orisha, the divine is not distant, unreachable, or abstract. It's personal. The Orisha are accessible. They live with us and within us. As J.O. Awalalu, a Yoruba scholar, outlined, the Orisha fall into three broad categories. 1. Primordial divinities, gods of the beginning, representing the forces of creation. 2. Deified ancestors, those who once lived as human beings and attained godhood. 3. Personified natural forces, gods and goddesses that embody specific natural phenomena like wind, fire, or water. Each of these divine categories is deeply interconnected. They do not operate in isolation. Rather, they reflect the holistic view that everything, divine, human, and natural, is one continuous flow of energy. Ogun, the iron pathway. Ogun's influence extends far beyond just the realm of warfare. He is the Orisha of iron, innovation, war, and civilization. Without Ogun, there would be no tools to hunt, no means to protect oneself, no structures to build communities. Iron in all its forms is sacred. This connection to iron goes back to the Iron Age, a time when societies began to master tools and weapons made from metal, which marked a significant turning point in human development. Ogun is often thought to have been worshipped even before this period, in a time when metal itself was imbued with divine power. For the Yoruba, blacksmiths were seen as spiritual figures. They didn't just craft tools. Their work mirrored the divine act of creation. When metal is melted and shaped, it is akin to how the universe itself was forged from chaos into order. In fact, the very act of working iron symbolizes the transformation of raw material into something of greater value, a mirror of Ogun's role in transforming chaos into civilization. Every time a blacksmith works, they call on Ogun for guidance and strength. The iron they work with is seen as a conduit for his power. Ogun represents more than just the force of war or hunting. He represents resistance and the fight for freedom. It's no surprise then that freedom fighters like Toussaint Louverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines are said to have invoked Ogun during the Haitian Revolution. Whether fact or folklore, the spiritual bond between Ogun and the Haitian revolutionaries is undeniable. The image of Ogun as a warrior god of freedom transcended continents, becoming a symbol for enslaved Africans across the Atlantic who fought for their autonomy. In many ways, Ogun's spirit of resistance was the sword with which the enslaved cut through their chains. His power was a tool but also a spirit, guiding those who would not be broken by oppression. Oya, the storm that opens doors. Oya, the Orisha of storms, holds an equally important place in the pantheon of the Yoruba gods and goddesses. Known for her dominion over wind, fire, tornadoes, hurricanes, and the boundary between life and death, Oya's power is unpredictable, yet profoundly transformative. Oya's domain stretches over the very air we breathe. She governs the forces of nature that move unseen, the winds, the lightning, and the thunder. But she is also the guardian of the cemetery gates. She does not control death itself, but she is the gatekeeper of transition, the one who ensures that life's changes flow in rhythm with the cycles of the universe. Her role is not one of destruction, but of clearing the way for something new. In that sense, she is the Orisha of transformation, of letting go, of renewal, of walking through the fire and coming out the other side. She teaches that every ending is merely the prelude to a new beginning. Perhaps one of Oya's most fascinating qualities is her association with being a female warrior. She is not just a goddess of beauty or fertility, but of battle, strength, and resilience. As the only female warrior Orisha, she embodies a fierce, untamed power that makes her an essential part of the Yoruba pantheon. In Caribbean and South American myths, particularly within Afro-Caribbean religions like Santeria and Candomblé, Oya's role expanded as enslaved Africans reinterpreted her power through the lens of their own struggles. Her myths blended with those of other Orisha, becoming symbols of female empowerment, cunning, and protection. In the Americas, Oya became a goddess of revolution and change, guiding the oppressed through their struggles for freedom. Her connection to the natural elements is profound. The tornado symbolizes both the destructive and creative forces she wields. The same winds that tear apart the old world also usher in the new one, carrying the seeds of transformation and growth. The Orisha and the Diaspora. One of the most remarkable aspects of the Orisha tradition is its survival through slavery and colonialism. Enslaved Africans were often forced to abandon their beliefs, but the Orisha refused to be erased. They traveled across the ocean, disguised as Catholic saints, disguised in rituals, and kept alive in the hearts of the oppressed. In the Americas, the Orisha were syncretized with Christian saints. Ogun became Saint James, Oya became Saint Teresa. But in the hearts of those who worshipped, these deities were unchanged. They spoke the same language, carried the same spirit, and gave the same strength. In the Diaspora, the Orisha became symbols of spiritual resistance. The bond between the African gods and those who survived the Middle Passage was unbroken. These forces continued to provide guidance and strength to those in the Americas who fought to reclaim their humanity, identity, and land. More than symbols, Ogun and Oya are not just abstract figures or symbols. They are active forces, forces of nature and human spirit. Ogun's iron will and Oya's transformative winds continue to guide those who call on them, reminding us that we are part of a larger, cosmic struggle. They don't exist in isolation. They are part of a larger spiritual economy that connects us all to nature, to the divine, and to our ancestors. They remind us that the work of freedom is not just physical, but spiritual. Ogun's strength is not just in the hammer, but in the heart that wields it. Oya's power is not just in the wind, but in the will to change. As we look at the power of Ogun and Oya, we see that they are not just gods of war or wind, they are gods of survival, adaptation, and transformation. They teach us that through chaos comes clarity, and through resistance comes liberation. Ogun shows us that we must create the tools for our own liberation, and Oya teaches us that we must be ready for change, even when it feels like destruction. The Orisha are not myths. They are realities that live within us, guide us, and shape the world. To walk with Ogun and Oya is to walk in the footsteps of all those who fought for freedom, and to know that we, too, are part of that eternal struggle.